against her, but she's so versatile that she's still going to work very well here for MVP. But having that amplified damage always against a team with Mirana makes it so you don't have to bring dust every single team fight and every single little gank. That's a pretty important point.
I feel like they have to control Ohio a little bit more. Like him on the offlane is just becoming extremely problematic in all the games that Fnatic has won.
It feels like he's an amazing one-on-one player, and somehow all the games that he actually plays offlane, the enemy team somehow dodges, and then he ends up in this like one-on-one matchup, even though Fnatic doesn't even plan to do so, and then he just like takes over the game from that position on.
Yeah, that's true. He has played phenomenal Dota, and his sanking really is becoming a staple here for Fnatic.
Without question. Fnatic continued their respect towards MVP in that second phase of bans that they got rid of the PA and the Naga once again, while MVP themselves get rid of the Lifestealer and the Slark. I think it's a Lifestealer. I can't see from here.
It is a Lifestealer.
Okay, good.
Okay, Fnatic are continuing respect, but at the same time, Fnatic are drafting very much like MVP drafted against OG, and you know, an MVP style of drafting. You have the Slardar, you have Ricky instead of the Bounty Hunter, and you have Juggernaut as a core as well. This is very much run at you type Dota, and we did expect it, seeing Fnatic and MVP play against each other, some high aggression. I think we're gonna see it game 2 as well.
But while Fnatic picks that though, they do have in mind the high ground and that you need to be able to farm up later. Like they always have a plan B, whereas MVP Phoenix in many of the games they just have like one strategy or like one plan that fails, and they were like, okay, let's just try it again. Whereas MVP, I mean, Fnatic would just go back to like farming and pushing, like split pushing towers.
Yeah, you make a great point, because now they have, even adding the Rasta as well here, they have the Mass Serpent Wards for pushing, the Healing Ward as well, and they have great late game between Juggernaut and Slardar, and even Ricky transitioning. So that's what MVP were lacking in the previous game. They got stressed because they would lose late game, they couldn't push, and if they lost teamfights to Bounty, you also lose. So it was just too many lose conditions instead.
Well, MVP do snag up the Oracle, which has actually had a pretty abysmal main stage performance so far, a 1-6 record. Shoutouts to Nahaz for that. And then they quickly followed up with the Sven.
I mean, the Sven is just like Sven Void. I personally was never really like a big fan of it. Although like one chrono on 2-3 heroes, if one is on the outside, can change the entire game. I just don't feel like the synergy is like super good.
I think
like,
Warcry's godly here, though.
Warcry is like super good, yeah. It's just like the combination of the heroes is, like, doesn't strike me as like perfect.
Yeah, Fnatic don't have that extreme magic damage as they had in the previous game. Now they're almost entirely physical, so Warcry is gonna be insanely good. But I like the combo of Oracle and Sven, and we even saw Liquid have an extremely good laning phase, adding the AA in one of their games. Not something I would recommend against the Ricky and Juggernaut here, though. Would be hard to play.
And what I really like from Fnatic too is they have banned like 3 heroes from QO, and I always feel if MVP has a good game, it is when QO feels very comfortable and can play like however he wants to play. But now they like targeted him with 3 bans, and he will have to go into like back to his reserve heroes, grab in his pocket like what else do I have here, and we'll see what he comes up with.
I think he can play. They can probably play Mirana on QO as well, though. Like the thing about QO is, yeah, he's one of those players who just practices insanely hard. And like even when the team is not playing, he will still be grinding.
Matchmaking games,
yeah. And his matchmaking games, he never takes them as a joke. He just practices heroes. His Dota buff is insane because of that. You should look at it.
Oh no, I saw him. I was with him in the team house. He was just like, I went to bed, he was there. I woke up, he was there. I was like, you ever sleep, dude?
He was not in your bed when you went to bed.
No.
Oh, okay.
He was like playing. Not with me, with a computer.
Okay, Black, we get it. Final bans from Fnatic. They get rid of the Alchemist, while MVP say no to that Tinker once again.
I love that Tinker ban. Like they still don't have any Tinker counters, and I actually thought Fnatic would pick it up if it wasn't banned. But now Fnatic will have to go to another. I would love to see like another magic damage kind of core, because they don't want more physical against that lineup.
No, definitely not. They need to add actually a big source of it as well. But I don't know, some heroes that are magic damage, we see them lose a lot, like Queen of Pain, for instance, on the mid lane. Sure, she has magic and pure, but Puck would be a possible hero for them. First, we need to see what MVP are going to grab, though, for their last pick.
I think Rubik and Lion would make sense for them if it were a normal team, but I'm not sure about MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, it depends on where they want to play the position. Yeah, it's going to be mid Mirana.
Oh, Ogre.
Ogre is very MVP hero. It's very good with Sven and Void as well. You buff that hero up.
I like it so much more this game than in the previous game, because they have really good targets for a Bloodlust this time. Last game, it was just the Slardar. He was the only one who could make use of it. And heroes that have bash like Void or Sven, who will get crit later on, are just insanely good when they scale into late game.
Yeah, I love their lineup now. They have high ground, they have fight, they have save, they have pretty much everything that you need. They have a well-rounded lineup. Not something you can say a lot about their draft, but it seems like they've learned something from the last game.
Yep.
We await, though, the last piece of the puzzle here for Fnatic. We were hoping for maybe a bit more magical burst or something, but we'll have to see what they decide on.
Well, it could still be the mid Juggernaut that we have seen a lot.
That's
for
true.
sure.
It's very hard to gank. Like Mirana +1 is very hard to kill Juggernaut with, and lots of C teams especially run that. And then they would have to pick like another safe lane core.
I mean, Timbersaw's still in there. Is he out of the equation?
I don't like Timbersaw for him so much. Against the many stunts that you see on the side of MVP Phoenix, it's going to be hard to play.
Medusa, of course.
Oh, wow. The Fnatic staple, or at least it had been a staple for a while, the Medusa. Gentlemen, now with the drafts before us, what's your last opinion on this matchup for Game 2?
I really like MVP this game, so I think they will tie the series.
I also favor MVP's draft. They've learned something from the last 3 games that they've lost.
They just added more physical damage on Fnatic, and I feel they're kind of one-dimensional in that the MVP lineup with Sven is going to block a lot of that. So MVP for me.
Sounds great. Let's get Game 2 started, and we'll send it over to our casters on the sidelines right now. It's Lord Dank and Manila Mott.
Thanks, Dakota. That's right. We're live here in Key Arena on the floor, getting ready for what could be MVP's last game in the run at Ti6 if they can't pull it together. But Mott, they've discovered something. There are ranged heroes in Dota 2.
There are.
There is the option to draft a plan B, and they've got it.
They pick up the Mirana, which is one of the best heroes currently in this meta right now. They're going to run it more than likely mid, and you heard the panelists talk about it. They love this draft from MVP. They've got everything to deal with all of this physical damage from Fnatic. And so with this draft, MVP, not nearly outdrafted as hard as they were in game number 1. But like you said, Fnatic, they just need to win one more, and then they will secure themselves top 4 here at Ti6. A lot at stake with, of course, both these teams coming into this game, LD. This should be hopefully an exciting one. A lot of team fight, a lot of run at you from both teams. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this should be a great matchup. For Fnatic, they are running the Medusa. It's a hero that I would say they, more than any other team, introduced back into the meta, but where we've generally seen the Medusa is paired with the Drow Ranger to help ensure her laning stage, give her that extra last hitting. They don't have the Drow this time. I feel like they felt compelled to pick a carry that could counter Chrono, because prior to that, you're running 3 melee heroes. You don't have a save against Chronosphere. We've seen a lot of teams struggle versus that spell when they don't. We saw it in the EG series. In both games, there was no answer for Chronosphere. No Shadow Demon, no Dazzle, no Global Silence, no Naga Song. They ran away with the series, and Universe was just able to do whatever he wanted. And the same was mostly true in this draft. Stone Gaze can be decent, but I feel like MVP, much more well-rounded draft. The only slight concern I have is, will they execute it, since clearly it's not their normal style. But yeah, I am also liking MVP's draft right now if they execute, and I think they should be in good shape.
I mean, the thing is also about Fnatic's draft is that they've run Medusa before without the Drow Ranger. It's not that they're not capable of doing it. They've done the Terrorblade Medusa before as well. So they have, of course, Mushi on this hero, and he's very, very good with it. But again, it remains to be seen if he can pump out the damage in the early game especially. Right now, we'll see a bit of a pull from Ohio. He'll take the creep wave down from bottom and bring it under his tower. That tier 1 in that bottom lane. And then, of course, we'll keep our eyes on top as it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-2, 2 against 2, as Toby will throw out the Ignite onto DJ and just do some early harass here.
Yeah, so first Sentry Ward getting dropped by Fnatic in the mid lane, but it does fail to D-Ward MVP. They tucked the ward, their own Sentry up on the left side of the cliff. So as a result, Mirana will have some intel when Riki moves in, but only when she's close to her hill. Still see Kyo getting pressured quite a bit. Sentry Ward battle is always important versus a Riki. So far, advantage there to MVP. As for this top lane, Shadow Shaman, he's a pretty weak laning support in a 2v2. He's fairly immobile, very easy to gank if he gets out of position. And that is going to leave the Void Ogre free to bully this Juggernaut quite a bit.
The Courier snipe, he needs one more. 3-4-3, will find it. It's just a salve. But that is still a huge pickup for Fnatic and a great start. This Q has like no regen left, LD.
You say just a salve, but yeah, he's got no health. He's only got 1 pooled tango. He can't even use it for 15 seconds. This is going to hurt, but top lane, the first blood. Is it going to happen? MVP
10
diving.
HP, 4-man shield. Oh, he missed Jukes. Brett will get the kill.
Maybe hoping to fog MVP. Could have potentially tangoed his way through, but likely in trouble. And this is, again, just not an easy lane for Juggernaut. 2 heroes that can just run and hit him. Void is great at trading blows. He's especially with the poor man shield. There is pressure mid though. 343 having gone for the courier snipe. Wants to follow it up with a kill. A kill now would make this lane really difficult. Generally, Mirana would do pretty well in the matchup, especially with no Drow Aura for the Dusa, but you get a kill after the courier snipe, no longer the case.
I mean, even though he didn't get the salve and he was sitting very low in HP, he was still able to get up to 6 last hits, although QO now has to head home because of the lack of regen. So this is going to be a bit more of a free lane for Mushi going forward now with 7 last hits getting his way. And then, of course, the experience advantage as well, now that QO has to maybe either TP in or walk all the way back. Fnatic have a bit of an advantage with 343, starting things off with that courier kill. He'll head top of that haste rune as he picked it up and sniped it away from Febby. Here's the Blight
They have a sentry here. They can at least bully him out of lane. Riki can't really do much in this lane in general. The Void is, at this stage, too tanky. He will trade blows. Ogre is not a hero you want to go on. But with all 3, if they catch the Void out, potentially can at least force the time walk. Getting a kill is going to be very difficult.
343 will get beat up on. They have some good lockdown. The smoke screen can help. They'll use it, but they need shackles. They're going to find it on Febby instead. They want to go for the easier kill. I don't know how much easier it is with 8 armor, but they already get the Ether Shock off. The body block comes through from 343, and he will not make it out for Ev. Time walks off some of that damage. The bash comes out, and 343 will get traded away.
He might be in trouble here, though, as the creeps are not cooperating, and Fnatic snipe him. It really felt like MVP could have just walked away. Fnatic, they dropped the Cloud on the Void, then they focus the Ogre. Ogre runs to the right instead of back towards his tower. Void goes in instead of backing away. Was not expecting the creep to nuke him, as DJ will deny himself to neutrals here for the free fountain trip. Already spent his gold, but where MVP could have probably not lost any heroes. They also knew the Riki was there with the sentry. They end up losing both. That's really bad.
Blade Fury mid 1 gets bashed up. Need a couple more of those if they want to get this kill. Time walk forward. Rev's just kind of try to put that pressure on that Juggernaut, but for now, stay at about half health. This Rev is also bloodlusted up, but keep an eye on that top lane. His bottom lane MP, he's the free farming spend for MVP and the hero that you might need to look out for if you're Fnatic.
So now Mushi's lane has been opened up because 343 sniped the bottle. Top lane looking a lot better for Fnatic. Not only did they get the 2 kills, but now mid 1 is phase boot. So versus Bloodlust versus Void, where he will be looking to finish you off with that 1 extra auto attack, this is a big item to pick up that could mean the difference between life and death, very likely. So that's 2 lanes that look pretty good for Fnatic now. And frankly, I think the off lane's going extremely well. Ohio is already level 5 versus a dual lane. Yes, Sven is free farming. He's going to have a fast level 6.
He's at least stolen 2 creep waves, or at least 1.5 now as he pulls it back to the tower. Now top lane 343. Again, the bash will come out from Forever, the time lock, but it's not enough to force out any detection and go
The issue
further.
for MVP in that bottom lane is it's not much of a kill lane. Oracle Sven, especially if you go for the standard Sven build with the cleave max, is not a lane that has much kill potential at all. And as a result, Slardar really able to do whatever he wants. Doesn't have to resort to Iron Talon jungle. And this is where Slardar generally struggles if he's going to, is in the laning stage.
Smoke screen, time walk away. Then get the shackles off though, and they're going to use the Blade Fury again. And Febby, he's got 8 armor, but he cannot withstand that magic damage coming out from Fnatic, and that's just another kill going their way.
Yeah, now you can see Fnatic, they're on the same page here. At first they wanted to go for the Void kill previously, but now they realize the hero to focus is the Ogre, and Smokescreen plus Shackles has a lot of kill potential. They're going to go for another one.
This should be a kill. Great smoke screen. It timed perfectly with that. And Shackles coming out in Ether Shock, of course. Now Febby getting dove under the tower. Another Ether Shock, and that's a double kill for mid 1. This top lane is devastating for MVP.
Yeah, it's no longer open for business. Void, I guess, can go back for the Iron Talon and look to jungle a bit more, but the chain feeding top has really cost MVP. That first double kill, very avoidable. Now, constantly need to have sentries in the lane, quite underleveled. Omni Slash will be available soon, and at that point, that's almost a guaranteed kill on the Ogre, even from full HP.
This mid matchup as well. Look at it, 34 last hits for Mushi, 20 last hits coming out from the Mirana at this point.
The Riki has just been doing work. Now there's no vision for QO mid, so he has to play more carefully.
Look at the Mystic Snake. The damage is almost there. QO didn't have enough to use a Starstorm or an arrow, but he had the mana to leap away if need be. But again, it's just another difficult lane. He's called out now. He's going to have to just, I guess, stack up or try to bring a hero, a creep down with an arrow, and it looks like he will. But that's what he's resorted to at this point. That is not a safe lane anymore.
The big worry for MVP is if Fnatic's lineup has a good start, it's very easy to execute later on as they make a move on Ohio, just looking to protect MP bottom. But basically, all you have to do is you drop the wards, you throw the Dusa up in front, the healing ward gets plopped down, and you hit buildings. They're going to drop every time the ward's up. You can also do the same thing with amp damage for Roshan as they again look for the kill top. Cloud thinking about it. Forev, though, gets nervous. Hasn't seen that Riki in a while. But Riki winning 2 lanes, even though he can only be in 1. And it just seems like 2 games in a row now, it's been the early movement of the Bounty Hunter in game 1, and even more so this game, the Riki in game 2 that has put Fnatic in control of the laning stage.
3-4-3 and DJ combining up to, obviously mid one of that top lane, combining up to get some huge kills. And like you said, win pretty much 2 lanes. They'll head back up there again. They're looking for the combination, the smoke screen, as well as DJ coming in with the shackles.
Uh-oh.
He's got a time walk away, but the smoke screen a little bit late. Although time walk now down, they use the hex up, but Moonlight Shadow will come out. And now Fnatic 3-4-3 will get stunned up. They have the dust there as well. They'll try to turn this. No Chronosphere.
They got to be careful though, because he could shackle and turn. That's the bloodlust move speed, definitely saving the day there. But I want to point out, not only has Riki had the impact we've already talked about, he's even sentry'd the Ancients. So they know MVP, if they're going to get back in this game, are going to need to turbo farm Sven and Mirana. These are 2 heroes that can catch up quite nicely. But despite the Sven Dominator build, the Sentry is going to stop the Ancient stacks.
Dubu bottom lane. Oh, look at that damage coming out. The amp, the Purifying Flames, and he dies. He Purifying Flamed himself after the Fate's Edict was off.
They have now lost all 3 lanes. All 3 Fnatic cores farming very well. Slardar getting 33 CS in the offlane is amazing. Sven is the most farmed hero in the game, but he's not going to be able to snowball that nearly as hard because the Ancient stack is blocked for now. And if you don't have a decent start on the Void, I think they struggle a bit to deal with Dusa in the mid game. A farm Void can crush Dusa, just get a Diffusal Blade, a Manta, go for more of that carry Void build. But if it's only a Sven hitting her, Stone Gaze is going to make a lot of problems. So I worry about MVP's ability to kill the hero who's had the least impact to this stage, and generally doesn't for some time. As the game gets later, Dusa will become more of a threat. They just haven't really made any adjustments to the lanes. They do have Chronosphere now. That could be the source of a comeback.
They even rotate Dubu up. They're going to time walk forward. Shockwave hitting Forev, not hitting mid one. They're looking to turn this with DJ again. Rather slow hero, but they have the Bloodlust now on Forev.
There's the bubble.
Through, and they hit the Chronosphere. Purifying Flames, Fortune's Edge should be enough to bring down at least the support, and it will be. But here comes 3-4-3. Omni Slash, they get the Fate's Edict. The Omni bounces the wrong way, but they do break down the Void. And now they've rotated up. Ohio looking for more. Febby, he's going to get chomped down. And of course, that's going to be more than enough damage. And a double kill for mid one.
Hero
right
trying
leg.
to come in from the river. He lets an arrow go, but Mirana too low, too late to get involved there, and didn't have the full complement of HP and spells available, so he's not able to help out. Moonlight Shadow on cooldown. Fnatic getting a lot done in the laning stage, and now Shadow Shaman is ultimate. A very early level 6 for him.
That's really fast.
C343, he knows the plan B for MVP. This is a lineup with a plan B, but Fnatic are already preparing to shut it down. The Riki's scouting out the D ward. Don't be surprised if he places another one to block the spawn box relatively soon. And there is a location just out of vision in the bottom right corner of that sentry, so he may just immediately reblock, or he could just body block it.
Sven wants to be at least 2 to 3K ahead in terms of net worth, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen now. He's only maybe 500 ahead, or actually 200 ahead of the Juggernaut at this point in time.
And that's with a 50 CS advantage.
Right.
That just shows you how much these kills really mean.
The top lane was significant for Fnatic, is one way to put it.
Yes.
And Forev is going to try to find a way to come back into the game as well. And QO has not had the biggest impact either. He's not really getting that much farm. He's, I think, a little ways from his Aghanim Scepter if he's going for it. Sitting only at 3.6K net worth. He's actually behind Ohio now. I don't know, then after this series, I don't think that's too shocking in how well Ohio's played the last 2 days. Moonlight Shadow will come out, though, and they'll look to try to find something. MVP will move together up to the top lane, and Jug might be the target.
But there's a sentry here. They're even going to be ready for this maneuver. Fnatic know that Moonlight Shadow ganks could be a way back in the game mid-1, dodging the arrow. It just feels like you're watching a very experienced chess player who's thinking 3-4 moves ahead, and Fnatic stepping their game up here against MVP, looking even stronger than they did in previous days, and at the right time. This team appears to be getting hot. They have the Shaman wards. They're not dropping them for tier 1. Duba looking for the deny, but he gets hexed.
What a hex from DJ. Will they go any further? He drops the ward, then he gets the ward trap off. No time walk available. Smoke screen. They have the stone gates. They've got the lockdown on MP. They'll lose the void. They might lose MP as well. Mushi running low on mana, however.
He's very tanky. I don't know if they can kill the Sven, but they force out the God Strength. They get the kill. 3-4-3. Trapped in the wards for now, it looks like. Can blink out. MVP do force the wards, and they did not use the Chrono, so this could be a window for them to try for something. You can see the Sentry battle over the Ancients rages, and now the little Riki could be a kill.
Stormhammer coming out. They should have enough damage here. Smoke screen, the miss is coming through. The Blink Strike, are you kidding me? 3-4-3 actually made it out alive there with 27 HP.
Oh dear, MVP really wanted that kill. Not gonna get it. And now Fnatic rotating down towards bottom. They bring the Dusa here. Without the Shaman wards, they're fairly slow at killing buildings at this stage.
But it's an MVP aren't rotating anyone down. There's going to be free tower damage here. They might not bring it down, but still, they'll be in prime position later on for Fnatic if they want to take this as well. But they're going to focus more attention top lane for MVP at this point in time. But again,
they want to take that fight while the Chrono's up and the wards are down, as well as the Stone Gaze. But Stone Gaze coming in 20 seconds. MVP are going to be initiating blind. They scan though. They see a hero under the tower. Oh, sorry, that's the Dire Skin, actually, Dire Skin. But still, now even worse for MVP if they try to go. Fnatic will know. They have the lane ward.
Ohio's a Blink Dagger. He has his Blink Slithering Crush ready. They could go on this if they want to. But the Chrono comes out, it hits onto 2. The arrow will come through, it'll hit on a mid 1. And 3-4-3 will not die first. There's going to be the Purifying Flames Fortune's End. Blade Fury coming out. Is it enough damage? Mid 1 just trying to escape. Bashed up and brought down.
RNG Gaming for MVP. This has been a source of many a comeback for them. Can they find it here? Stone Gaze a bit late, but they look to kill off the Sven. He will die to that last nuke. Salvaged by the Dusa. 4F backing away. Still 3 heroes dropping for Fnatic. MVP on top as far as numbers go, though they do lose their most farm hero, but Ohio, he's not done yet.
The 2-man crush the Mystic Snake. The arrow will hit Ohio. Forever. Time walks away. They're not done yet. Ohio's still rather tanky, and Kyo doesn't have the damage to deal with this. They just want to get out for MVP, and it looks like they might, but no. Ohio says no. Another crush, another blanket, another kill for Fnatic as Mushi picks it up.
And that was when they had the ultimate advantage, so overall trade, still I think MVP's okay with it, but they're by no means delighted.
QO's out of the smoke screen now.
No leap.
Oh, he's got leap in 3. He walks back into the silence, and he will only further his death. And again, shut down before getting anywhere close to that Aghanim Scepter. Although he does have 2 components, he's just still not there yet.
Mirana is going to have a very late egg. Sven being denied his Ancients for the most part, now is starting to stack them, but generally at this point an unchecked Sven will have cleared at least 1 quad stack. It's not been the case. You can see again 3-4-3, constantly vigilant around this area. And mid 1 working towards a Battle Fury, so at some point Fnatic won't just be stopping the Sven from farming Ancients. If they win a fight, they'll be stealing the stack as well, with also a Dusa who can kill it off. Mushi grabbing a tier 1 top. The next thing for Fnatic is taking the tier 1 bottom, and then once they've done that, the way to Roshan will lie open. Grabbing an Aegis for this lineup is really big. And they're quite good at taking Roche.
The amplified damage will help. Again, they tried that for MVP Phoenix with QO last game. Wasn't successful. If MVP Phoenix can have that same effect on Fnatic, would be huge. But
they're going to go now, I think. They have wards.
There are no tier 1 towers to TP into. I mean, they have the tier 2 bottom, obviously. They can contest Roshan if they decide to go for it, if Fnatic head over into that general direction. But it looks like they're just going to keep pushing out bottom first and foremost.
There's a DD on Dusa. Level 2 amp damage. This is going to be a very quick Roche. MVP should probably be able to read the move, but the bigger question is, do they feel like they can take a fight around the pit? Stone Gaze is a great answer to Chronosphere if you get it off. Dusa also has Lincolns now. And you're fighting without vision towards the pit, but MVP,
go for it.
They've never been afraid of a fight, Maud. They won't be afraid of this one.
The amp damage, the crits coming out from the Juggernaut, and that's it. Mid 1 will grab the Aegis, but 3-4-3. It's a Moonlight Shadow. I don't know if he saw his squad. He probably broke the smoke.
They have that lane ward mid. MVP, this move has been read, and they're already too late anyway.
And they even used the dust. They thought the Riki was nearby. A little bit too late for that from 4F. They did drop the Serpent Wards coming out from the Shaman, but I don't know if they know that. It was in the pit. You should guess, I suppose, when you're going for Roche with this lineup that Serpent Wards are going to be used, but I don't think that matters. Fnatic they certainly don't care. They want to keep their aggression up, but they're going to head over down to this bottom lane as everyone's trying to escape from MVP Phoenix one by one.
They might catch Febby on the way out. Well, they scratched that. They're waiting for the team to congregate. Are bringing the Juggernaut as well. He's now completed a Battle Fury. Mushi already with the Lincoln's grab up to 1,200 gold. I worry a bit for MVP just because they don't, like, not only have your carries been shut down, but you don't have, like, natural counters for Medusa. There's no anti-mage this game as QO narrowly dodging the gank bottom. They don't have an anti-mage. The Void is not really farming all that well, so going for Diffusal Blade Manta is a slow build-up. No Necrobook carrier. That's the other thing we've often seen as a solution to Medusa. Or you just have to shut her down in the laning stage. But having not done any of those things, Medusa is going to be a bulwark in these fights. Even if you hit the perfect chrono, like, will they have the follow-up burst? Maybe with the Mirana Eggs, if you get the quadruple Starstorm, but
if
you still have to worry about the Jug. You still have to worry about the Slardar.
It's all RNG, it feels like, for MVP Phoenix every time. Again, with the quadruple Starstorm this time and the time lock procs coming out from the Void. But
yeah, they even needed the double bash top to get the kill there much earlier, but it's not like the draft was RNG reliant. It's just more, at this point, it feels like because they're behind, they might need it to get kills. While Fnatic move in mid, they want for it, but Dubu is behind him. Could be a good opportunity to turn around.
That false promise ready and waiting is Ohio. Not only him, but another hero situated, and they're all three going in. They will actually see Dubu and go, and they immediately burst him down. And Forev will have to time walk away, but he's already going up to the north, heading towards that top rune spot. He's going to find a bounty rune, not the rune he wanted, but Ohio getting ready for another crush. And almost in range, and there it is. Moonlight Shadow, but they have the amp damage up. Forev still can time walk away, but not if he gets shackled up. Looks like it will be the kill of the Omni/LD, and I don't think they're done yet.
That Cloud was so good. Sven blinks in, wanting to turn the fight, but he walks into the Cloud. Then the Crush as well. MP could be dropping here too. They slice down the Sven, turn him into shish kebab. It's 4, might be 5, a triple for mid 1. And oh, by the way, did I mention there's a Medusa in this game? Mushi just ignoring the fight, hitting the tower mid. That's their hard carry, not even coming to the fight, and still they get 4.
They would have gotten 5
worse.
if there wasn't a haste rune on QO. That's the only thing, I think, in that situation that saved them. 4 heroes dying in this situation. It was already bad beforehand. Now Fnatic, looks like they'll try to find this tier 2 tower and probably be successful in doing so. The lead will get worse and worse. However, QO does pick up the Aghanim Scepter, and we've seen games turned around with this item, although it does feel a bit late at 20 minutes. They will smoke up, and MVP will head immediately to defend.
Yeah, Oracle and that earlier kill. So here's the chrono. Hold that thought. Catches out DJ, but the Stone Gaze to disengage. Where's the follow-up damage? Mirana can't even walk into it. They might get the DJ kill. No! Crush! Amp! He lives for now. Finally will fall. 4M forced to run away. But that's all they've gotten so far, Mont.
She getting chased down the Stormhammer. A great crush and smokescreen on top. Can they stop this push forward? Dust is up. They'll find 3-4-3. They want another kill, and they might find it. The jump out again. The blink strikes. They will bring down Mushi, the more important target.
And they get the bash up Riki too! Oh, the RNG for MVP. Mid 1, now trying to retreat. He's the Aegis carry, but if they kill him once, you better believe they can kill him twice. It's that MVP magic right when they need it. Could be 4 heroes. The Crush from Ohio again, trying to save the day. Now the 4-step back, but the chase is on.
Stormhammer, they don't need the bash. The Fortune said they'll bring down mid 1, and they are looking for Ohio. All of a sudden, MVP diving tier 1s, looking for more kills, and they will just barely miss on Ohio as he blinks up to the high ground. But what a turnaround. A lot of gold going the way of MVP, and just at the right time. They say we're not done yet. We're forcing game number 3. We're going to try our best to get there.
This team is the living definition of give them an inch and they'll take a mile. My God. A chrono that didn't even look that good, barely manages to kill up the Shadow Shaman, then barely the Void gets away. That Bloodlust giving him maybe an extra attack or 2 could have made the difference there. Mirana didn't even get to combo with that. QO had to turn and walk away from the chrono. Normally, where the Void Mirana is really scary is you have the guaranteed arrow hit, you get the double Starstorm on multiple heroes inside of Chrono. They didn't even have that, but they just picked off Fnatic heroes one by one. Medusa separating from the team, the Riki getting first hit bashed on his TP out at the last possible second. MVP clawing their way back into this one, and they have great late game. So as bad as the lanes looked, if it's an even net worth game, it's at worst for MVP, it's an even game, and I feel like late game, if they get to that point, 4F goes for the Diffusal Manta build. You have a very far Mirana. Sven scales pretty hard. They might even just have the straight-up edge.
It's looking like it might get to that point. At the beginning of the game, there was almost a 10,000 net worth lead at its peak for Fnatic. After that team fight, it's down to 5,000. And of course, now with Kyo having this Aghanim Scepter, he farms even faster. Not to mention this Sven taking stacks. Although they did lose their Ancient stack about a minute ago, Smushi came in there and contested it, was able to take down all of the creeps. MVP will go for another smoke, though, and this time they might be successful again.
3-4-3, though, great positioning. He's going to reveal this one, but they still find it opening. The Chrono on 2. DJ caught out. They're going to lose the roster. Then the bash with Ohio. He might drop as well. He will.
Now mid-1 in trouble. Has to use his Blade Fury to get away. Mushi, will they dive under the tower again? Another bash for him. This time the Stone Gaze is out. They have the healing ward up for him. Getting low. Will not be able to time long. And they will get up here with the Omni Slash. Mushi says, I'll turn this around. I've got the ultimate, and they're looking for more.
Mushi playing the carry here. Febby, no, he's going to drop, end up getting away, but mid-1 will get sniped by Kuo. Can he make it out, though? Pound leaping away, and now the chase. They don't have much catch from these two. I think Kuo escapes. Man, that's Stone Gaze. They almost didn't even get the kill there on the Void. Like a half second quicker to turn around. He probably just time walks out and escapes. You do see the natural synergy between Medusa and Juggernaut here. Stone Gaze into the Omni Slash. Incredible physical damage if they can combo it. But MVP still trading kills from a deficit. We'll be happy with this overall series of exchanges. Granted, they lost some carries, but they're at least able to find kills and apply pressure. And I think just momentum and emotion-wise, that's a game where MVP feel a whole lot more comfortable than if it's some AFK farm fest. That's just not MVP Dota.
I think they came out ahead in terms of the numbers. It's very slight on that graph, you can see, but it is a bit of an edge. And any little edge they will take, and they'll take to their advantage. It's just dealing with Mushi now on that Stone Gaze. When it's up, you can see what it's going to do to your team. So you have to fight around that. Again, like you talked about, gaining that Diffusal Blade for 4F. He did go for the Blink Dagger and the Vlad's first, which is a perfectly fine build. But how does he transition this? As now the Manta style and more stats gone the way of the Medusa. MP Dubu still sitting up top and looking for more as Mushi might round the corner here.
But while that was happening, they actually managed to snipe the Mirana bottom lane. Another death here. QO struggling. They do find Mushi.
He's going to get caught. He has the Stone Gaze, the Chronosphere, though, and everyone stoned up right now. But finally, the Chrono will end, and Mushi is out of mana. So they have the damage. NP was hexed up. He should go down here, and yes, Mushi will get dropped finally by the Purifying Flames.
They committed a lot for that Mushi kill. Fnatic are feeling confident to turn a fight around. No Chrono. God Strength going to wear off, but they have to get in range. They can't close the distance. Fnatic just with the Slardar is their only real form of catch. The Blink Shaman is okay, but he's not going to blink into 4 heroes by himself. So a carry for a carry. Dusa for a Mirana, the Dusa being the more farmed hero. MVP again getting the slightly better trade. It's really anyone's game. This is going to come down to vision, to who gets the better initiation. Generally, I would favor the team with the Void by a long shot when it comes to initiation.
But this game is just so tricky with Ohio hitting the crushes that he's hit so far. In the past 5 minutes, though, Ohio hasn't had that impact that he's been looking for, especially at the fight where they were getting chased down all through mid, through the jungle. They do, again, have that dire advantage, though. Roche is respawning in 1 minute and 15. MVP will have the Chronosphere up and ready to go when that does happen. So contesting Roche, still viable for MVP, and they will have, hopefully, the BKB completed for the Sven also at that point in time.
Quite surprised to see, well, I wouldn't say surprised necessarily, but not sure about the item builds from the Fnatic carries. We'd see Mushi go in for Lincoln's Manta. He always goes this build on Medusa, super defensive, and then we'll transition eventually into damage items, sometimes even get Scotty next. But double Manta against a Mirana with Starfall, against the Sven with the amount of cleave he brings to bear. There's really no big silences to remove this game. The one thing these will give you is the ability to chip a little bit more safely at towers, but in fighting, I'm not sure how much they'll offer.
Yuo getting caught, X up, Slithering Crush. This might be a big catch, and he will fall. 61 seconds on the sideline as Roche is respawning.
Down in the river, they also see MP. Fnatic, though, that's a tough one to wrangle. They're not going to go for it. But QO just racking up the deaths mod. It just seems like it started with the courier snipe, and it hasn't stopped. 3 deaths, but that they've all come. So like as he's trying to farm Aghanims or whenever he goes to lanes, he's just not hitting creeps right now at all. Sitting only 130 CS, Juggernaut and Dusa 70 CS up on a Mirana. If anything, the Mirana is usually the one ahead because of the Aghanim's easy build-up and the fact that you generally get it just faster. You don't have to build as many items before it as you do like with the Juggernaut Battle Fury or with the Dusa. She needs 2-3 items before she clears waves as easily.
And Mirana, at the early stage of the game, she was shut down with that courier snipe to begin with. And QO with the Aghanim Scepter, and like you said, not finding the farm that you would expect. BKB done for the Sven. Oh, by the way, Mushi is gone for the Lincoln's Manta build, which I know this is Black is not a fan of. I don't believe. They've talked about this numerous times. The Manta build is not something he's particularly fond of, especially even after the Lincoln Sphere pickup, I believe. So we keep talking about it though. But
speaking of other item pickups, there's a BKB on MP. There is the Shaman Hex and the Shackles, so just for that, as well as the Riki Smoke Cloud, BKB will prevent it from affecting you. I think it's a worthwhile BKB game, but there's still a lot of ways to counter this, whether it's the Slardar Bash, amp damage, the Medusa Stone Gaze is still a big problem for him, so by no means a full solution, but a necessary BKB purchase for MP.
Mid one is split pushing top heavily right now. They're going to be forced back more than likely when they really just want to Roche or at least contest it. They've already TP'd up one, and that's going to be QO. He's pretty speedy, though. He can head back to that Roche pit pretty quickly, but Fnatic are already making their move. Not into the pit, however.
Good positioning by MVP here, though, and they're going to nail the Chrono, catching out 2.
3-4-3 might be the first to drop. Stormhammer will finish him off. There's the Super Wards. Dubu caught by them and taking plenty of damage. False Promise not there in time, but Ohio's looking for more, and here comes mid one.
They didn't have the follow-up damage into that Chrono. We're just not seeing the Mirana combination, but a nice snipe there with the arrow. Unfortunately, Medusa still getting the kill in the Oracle. Wards got dropped outside the pit. I don't think they need the wards to take Roche. It just makes it easier for Fnatic. Now the amp damage, the Juggernaut hits quite hard, and hell, a DD rune. The RNG god smiling on Fnatic.
Why not? Why not give him the DD to go to Roche again? And again, the Serpent Wards were dropped, but also Chronosphere was used as well. No blink in, time dilation on the high ground. Stone Gaze forced out. Ohio comes in with the crush. Forev still Nano ready, but now MP.
Oh, TJ, he blinks and he goes Scepters right as MP goes for the point-blank Sven stun. Very quick reactions on the Shadow Shaman. DJ farming very well now. Aether Lens en route. He's picked up the recipe, so gives them the longer Hex initiation range, which can make all the difference. It gives them that secondary option to start fights. We've seen it a couple times now that it's not just Ohio initiating on the Slardar, it is also the Shaman more and more as the game goes along, and with these items, suddenly his initiation range is quite scary. They move towards the Ancients. Again, the endless battle over these Ancients rages.
What is it with DJ and just farm in general? Last game he had the CM with the Midas that turned into being one of the biggest CM games you've seen. Now he's going to do well in Ohio. Initiating first. Here comes DJ to help out and fall with plenty of lockdown. Void is done.
He may need to buy back, or this lane could be in trouble here. He has the buyback. Chrono is up in about 15-10 now.
Oh, MP cannot afford to go down. Good force back from Febby, but still, there is that buyback that you were talking about, and that's just good, really good lane positioning from Fnatic to have the creeps underneath the tier 3 tower at that point while getting the gank off.
I'm really liking the shot calling from Fnatic. Earlier, it was take tier 1 bottom, straight into the Roshan pit, taking fights whenever the Chrono's down, force out the Void buyback, instantly retreating. They're playing disciplined, patient Dota. That is the best way, and we saw yesterday from Wings, to limit MVP's comeback potential when you get ahead. They're known for those miracle fights, even from a huge deficit, but if you play this safely, it's very difficult to find openings.
Fnatic again, they'll back up, and they don't want to push anything too hard. Yes, they got the buyback out, and they still have the Aegis, mind you, but they don't need to rush anything as you were talking about. MVP, on the other hand, they're looking to find any pick off, any straggler that they can. Move out together, play as 5 this time, and look to farm the jungle, at least as a squad.
But they don't want to be as 5. They want Mirana to be farming one lane, Sven to be clearing stacks, the supports looking for kills behind them, the Void farming and setting up team fights, and instead they're getting caught out.
The courier was there, Dubu getting items delivered, and now the Chrono misses. Forev has to just get out now.
Oh, they're in trouble. Dubu getting run down, the Moonlight Shadow used to disengage, the dust is there, maybe they can turn this. 3-4-3 popped instantly, the crush gets dodged by the BKB, but Mushi zones them all back. Now turning on the Juggernaut, Omni Slash already committed. basically all the big spells down. That's where Mirana can take over as QO rushing after the Deuce wants to hurt her away and find the backliners. It's Ohio down next. MVP, they take 3 after an airball chrono. Maybe 4F just needs to keep on missing.
That somehow worked out in their favor. Maybe it was the Omni Slash coming out that mid one just couldn't quite get a hold of. It went to like 3 or 4 different targets and got shared equally by the members of MVP at this point. So they lose 3 heroes because QO came in the back line. He was able to grab another. I think that was DJ that he picked off. And Mushi just couldn't output the damage. He wasn't close enough to the members of MVP Phoenix to find kills. And they're going to turn this into a Tier 1 tower. And yeah, Tier 1's still alive at this point. It's not great, but it will secure them even more gold going their way.
Arrow's going to be possibly shot here by QO. Now just walks up to the building. They move on to Mushi, trying to take objectives, and they do have good heroes for killing them off as Juggernaut chases forward. Febby, force staff out. Will TP away. Medusa now grabbing the Scotty. The main issue with this Medusa build is if you don't have a Drow Ranger, you just don't hit very hard. You can kind of be ignored in fights. Barring a really good Stone Gaze, you don't have the damage. So Mushi is frankly a red herring. If I'm MVP, I just ignore him. They aren't really good at killing him. He doesn't hit all that hard at this point. Focus the other heroes. That's what QO did in the last fight. He zoned Mushi away and then immediately blinked, turned back, found the 2 much easier kills in the bottom tree line. That's how MVP should continue to approach these fights. And well, they get their first tool to try and start dealing with the Deuce late game. A Diffusal Blade on 4F. Once he gets Manta, Deuce's game gets a whole lot scarier.
The Diffusal Blade for that Faceless Void is actually going to help out significantly. It gives him the damage output, not just on the Deuce, but on the rest of the heroes as well. Mid one, it
also
like
purge off the amp damage, so it's quite a nice pickup.
And it also felt like Fnatic have needed some tools to be able to chase. There's a lot of forces. There's a lot of ways for MVP to escape and get out. The Scotty will help, but here's the smoke from MVP looking to interrupt the high ground. They might find 343 or Ohio.
It's the Riki again out in front. Notice 343 always positioned to try to scout these smokes, but he will get caught and he will pay.
Here's the chrono for 1. Riki down for 36 seconds. It's not the biggest pickup, but a kill is a kill for MVP Phoenix, and now they have the numbers advantage if they want to continue on here.
Smoke Cloud is a pretty important part of the Fnatic team fight, as there's only the 1 BKB at this point and 1 Force Staff, so a well-placed Cloud can be a team fight winner. Thus, you don't see Fnatic that confident to move in. Good timing on the smoke there. Roshan, Aegis now reclaimed.
Right Shadow, there's 2 heroes in that top lane, but mid 1 and DJ, they get caught out. MP looking for the Stormhammer. They get the bash up from 4F. There's going to be the God Strength, but MP slowed down by the defuse, but they get the bash again from 4F, and QO finishes it off with that Star Storm.
This is the power of Void. He's 7k down on the Juggernaut, but you wouldn't know it. He's the one man fighting with a level 4 Bloodlust. Void, Sven, these guys hit hard in the late game, and to back them up, they have the magic damage of Mirana, of multicast. We can see QO building into an Ethereal Blade next. Shotgun is fantastic against heavy right-click damage, either to just prevent that hero from hitting you, to protect yourself. So it's great against Slardar, it's great against Stone Gaze. Fnatic still, like, both teams have great late game. The issue here is MVP, they have the much easier to execute lineup. They have lots of AoE lockdown. You pretty much are always going to dish out damage as Mirana just by existing in the middle of a team fight. And Sven versus 3 melee heroes has a relatively easy time of it. So for Fnatic, a little bit harder to execute. Getting a Cloud Stone Gaze combination sounds really good. Combine it with the wards.
Oh no, that ward.
The Omni Slash, but not easy to pull off. Slightly miscue there from 343.
It happens. They have the AC, by the way, and they're setting up for top, but this might be a little obvious to Fnatic. They're not TPing anybody up here. I think they just let this tower go. The 2 significant items, the one you talked about, the Ethereal Blade, the AC picked up for MP. And as you said, the late game is very solid for them, too. And the Ethereal Blade against the Omni Slash on top of all of that as well. So it's, again, going to come down to Fnatic, I think, just taking the right engagements. And 343 has been the one to kind of set those up. A lot of the times, it'll be him breaking the smoke, and then he kind of just dies for it. But now they have that gem. They have some vision. They can take back map control that we've kind of been losing for the past 5 minutes, I think, LD.
Yeah, dewarding the map, very important for Fnatic, because they don't really just want to turn this into a farm war. QO was thinking about a setup top lane, but now that Mushi reveals himself, they have good vision of Ohio moving in, so they know Fnatic are sticking together. And no longer is Fnatic the team in the enemy jungle. It's MVP who confidently spread out. This is what their lineup excels at. very good at clearing waves. They can farm with the best of them, even with the Battle Fury Jug and Split Shot on Fnatic's side. And you're still waiting on more items. Mushi doesn't do enough damage. He needs Butterfly, maybe an MKB. Daedalus. We'll see what that last item is for Dusa, but at this point just doesn't hit all that hard. Whereas already Sven, Mirana hit like trucks with relatively less farm. So I feel like Fnatic are kind of forced into this position where they have to farm. They wait for the next Roche. Maybe with the Aegis they go high ground, but high ground is where Void is king. We've seen so many huge Chronospheres already on the main stage of Key Arena. And with Fnatic not having a proper save, like the only thing they can do is Stone Gaze when that Chrono happens, then you don't have Stone Gaze for the ensuing team fight. It's basically just resetting, and it seems like with the reset team fights, MVP come out on top.
They can burst down forever, but I think his positioning is just, it's going to be fine. He has a Blink Dagger. He doesn't need to put himself in harm's way, getting caught out by something like DJ's Hex into Shackle. So, again, MVP will move out together. Roshan is up in about 20 to 30 seconds or so, and Fnatic are already positioning themselves sort of around the Roche pit. MVP playing together as 5, again, heading towards the enemy jungle once more. They want to be kings of Fnatic's jungle at this point and try to make sure they cut off support. Fnatic can't farm easily. Mushi and 3-4-3 in the mid lane, again, waiting as everyone else from MVP heading to the top lane.
Oh, Roshan about to respawn. Looking at the vision for both teams, it's actually very poor in general. There's only one ward up for each team. So that's why you see them 5-manning around together. Nobody feels safe to go on the map. Riki can maybe scout, but you've seen every time 3-4-3's out in front, he just dies, and they don't have the cloud for the team fights. It's MVP forcing the issue. They just want to go high ground now.
They use the God Strength for it too, but MP doesn't get off his BKB, but it might not matter as 4F gets off the Chronosphere. Now the Omni Slide, and they blow up the Riki, but MP, false promise at the very end, and he still might fall. We'll see if it's enough.
He backs away. MP is going to end up popping, so they get the kill on the Sven. It looked like he might just walk away scot-free, and at that point, MVP in great position. But with Sven dead, Chrono down, and the Slardar still alive, they can potentially walk into Roche. They actually want to chase the Void. They're going to blink. The Crush connects. He walks back into the Ancient, into the Ward Trap. Oh no, he had seen the amp damage just wore off, and you don't expect Fnatic to chase that far. Roshan is still up. If anything, they're probably going to Roche. You want to maximize your efficiency during that time. Go hit creeps. There's no vision, and that's, again, something that comes into play here. Losing a second core. Now Fnatic will take Roche. This delays the potential Manta style for Void, an important part of their late game potential. Now Fnatic, Aegis will be theirs.
That is a huge fight coming out for Fnatic, but also a fight that MVP don't really need to take. They wanted to push in the creep wave, force Fnatic back away from the Roche pit.
That's a really good way to put it. Like, did they have to take that fight? They're diving onto the towers. Again, we haven't seen amazing Chronos this game. I still feel like if 4F hits a good 2-3 hero Chrono, the Mirana is the follow-up damage. You don't even need Sven to hit more than maybe 1 and you're in good shape, but it just hasn't been happening, Mon. And finding that good Chrono is much harder when you're going high ground.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have the vision. You talked about right before that the wards, they weren't there, and it's even harder when going up in the high ground. Also, Fnatic had the gem advantage that MVP Phoenix did not have. So it's just something I understand why they go for it. They want to make sure they push up into the high ground. They force the TPs back, but they didn't need to commit the God Strength. They didn't need to try to take down that tower. They didn't need to use the Chronosphere. And so they will have to pay. Luckily, no buybacks used for MVP Phoenix, but it is still the Aegis, and this time Cheese as well for Fnatic. And they're setting up for MP. For staff, but not away. Instead, only to the side. And now here comes the Scotty from Mushi, trying to right-click him down with that newly minted Butterfly as well.
He's very tanky, though. You can see when Warcry's active, even without the Oracle needing to ult there, that they basically only have physical damage on Fnatic, so they take Roche, they win a fight, but now they'll be fighting on MVP's terms, which is if they go high ground, they're walking into great setup for Chrono. They don't have a swap save. They don't have a disruption. The best thing they can do is maybe drop a well-placed smoke cloud or blow the Stone Gaze. And you can see Fnatic are hesitant. They know this is not going to be an easy siege. They chip with the wards here. They're about to get DJ's level 16. I think that's what they're waiting for. The level 3 wards are significantly stronger, and he is like one creep wave away.
No, honestly, just hit any creep, ancient, anything. Get that level 16, but MVP again move out together as a team. There's some vision over here, it looks like, for the Dire. And 3-4-3, I think he might have scattered out that Moonlight Shadow. This is dangerous. And Fnatic just avoid it. They back away. They head to the mid lane and they say, okay, well, we saw that, and instead we're going to smoke up. We're going to head up towards the top lane.
Oh, leading with a Dusa with a cheese and this amount of farm. It's going to be tough to deal with it now. MP, ooh, breaking the smoke.
Everyone's blinking which way. They don't know where to go.
Slardar's going to flank, though.
They found Febby. That's it, though, for the time being. Fire Blast does get off. Ohio has the BKB Chrono on it, too, and they're both on the edge. Ohio will fall first, and now Mushi, very tanky, but can he survive this? The Omnic Slash going through. It's not enough damage, though, here, LD.
It's really doing nothing against the Warcry. Oh, that Sven, man, he hits hard. MP just with one swoop, forcing it back. Now the Shackles, not enough to kill up QO. Flanking on the backside, the Dire Courier goes down. A train wreck of a fight for Fnatic. Losing 2, losing an Aegis, dropping the wards for naught. And then the Courier with 6k net worth as well. At least they get Forev. A magnificent fight overall from MVP if they get out.
They need to leave.
The key thing that really hurt them there was Slardar did not BKB before jumping in. And Ohio, instead of getting off a crush and likely killing the Ogre, he ends up getting chronoed and just dying instantly. Also, notice that mid 1 does nothing in these fights. He's ahead of every single MVP hero net worth, but they're just so immune to physical damage. If it's the Sven you're ulting, you're not killing him without a Stone Gaze. And meanwhile, MVP have great magic damage, something Fnatic aren't particularly well equipped to handle. So they're again just fighting around the Dusa, ignoring Mushi in fights, and so far, it seems to be working for MVP. They get rid of the Aegis, they're still cheese, but they're keeping this game very close, Mont. And they did that outside of the base, too.
I think the Courier was bringing out the Basher for the Juggernaut, I believe, on mid 1.
It had a Basher, and it had Abyssal Blade recipe, and the Vitality boost.
So an Abyssal Blade might have been huge in that engagement.
It's basically the whole Abyssal Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been a difference maker.
Again, though, like you said, it's just the armor coming out from MVP is huge. Febby, though, about to get jumped on the smoke screen. This is not a huge pick, but he doesn't have buyback, and that might be the most important thing. It is 4 versus 5 now for at least 53 seconds.
It's pretty big. Like, just for Bloodlust, Ogre offers a lot. When you have 2 hard-hitting melee carries.
They still have that cheese, by the way, on Mushi. They did lose the Aegis, but...
This is almost an Aegis on Dusa. Like, the chances that they will be able to kill her without her popping in are pretty slim.
I mean,
they would have to save the Chrono for quite late into the fight.
They almost do that Daedalus on Sven, which I think he has got a Demon Edge. But now, coming in for Ev, no Chronosphere yet. QO, Starstorm pushing back this creep wave. Arrow hits onto Mushi, though. I don't know how long. Yeah, that duration is not long enough at this point.
They still don't even have the healing ward. A very slow siege, but Fnatic do get some chip damage while the Ogre's dead.
Chip damage is right. It's a very small amount of damage on that tower, but it is a start. If they really want to be able to push into this base, taking that tier 3 tower down is one of the most important things they can do. But again, MVP, they still have, again, we've talked about it, great late game. They have the magic damage. Now they're getting an MKB for MP. No Daedalus, but that butterfly is now countered by MP's, the Sven's pickup of that item.
And if he's not Stone Gaze, Sven is going to do way more in these fights than Medusa. So MP can be the big hitter for MVP, along with the Mirana. Dagon has been leveled up substantially. It's now level 4 Dagon. They can almost instantly delete a support hero here. The Shadow Shaman,
3-4-3.
Riki are easy prey.
Yeah, 3-4-3 will die pretty much instantly.
Even a Juggernaut, if Blade Fury is down and he gets hit by the combo, doesn't confuse him with the Manta Style, he's pretty much a one-shot with the quadruple Starstorm and the Dagon E-Blade. So they were waiting for this item. Abyssal Blade now picked up for mid 1. He hits hard, but Warcry is just amazing to have against physical damage, so I still worry a bit here about Fnatic's ability to find kills.
Yeah, 5,000 for Mushu, buys a Maelstrom, and it looks like a Mjolnir will be on the way.
He's out of slots, though. At this point, you're getting rid of a big item. Like, Cheese is the one thing you could drop, but Cheese is amazing on Medusa.
Yeah,
so.
you want to keep that, I think. Yeah. So you kind of just have to switch things out and hope that you can get the Maelstrom with the Courier in time. Now, this is so important. This is game number 2. An MVP in the lower bracket. They lose this one, they are out of the tournament. Fnatic will move on to top 4. You can see a forced game number 3. MVP. They were getting crushed in the early game, but now it's looking a little bit more even. They have the top 2 in net worth. The net worth is still going Fnatic's way as a total, but Moonlight Shadow coming out. Frev will work towards finding a Chronosphere here, but they're all split up. I don't think they can find anybody. Maybe they can find Medusa down bottom, but that might be it.
She just dodged away, but now they have seen her. Still, though, flanking the Riki is going to reveal the Ogre, so they know everybody's heading bottom for Ev, looking to leap in. I think it's too far to blink forward for Chrono, but he is trying to find that Medusa so bad. They get a ward on the high ground. They've actually seen MP. Ohio might think about a go on him. As he walks down towards the Ancients, he is going to convene with the team, so nobody connects on the gank opportunities there, but it looks like Fnatic do want to take this fight.
One missed movement here for Fnatic or for MVP. This is so tense of a situation, and again...
Well, if that arrow hit, I think they would have committed a Chrono, but you need the double stun if you're going to try to lock down a Medusa and kill her before she gets off the cheese.
Looks like MP will back away this time, not committing the God Strength to that tower. Instead, they'll back up. They'll play a bit more patiently. 3-4-3 in the front lines now, trying to scout things out.
QO is fishing from the tree line.
This is so dangerous. Arrow's going to come through. Mushi will dodge it. 3-4-3 had the vision to see it coming through.
I do like the positioning a lot here from Fnatic. 3-4-3 in good position to get off an early cloud. Mushi way up in front. You do not want to clump against Chrono.
They're just going to back, it looks like, for MVP. You know, they don't want to take anything too risky. And the top lane's not even pushing in that hard. The mid lane a little bit more, but it's not yet right around Roche. I don't believe it is. We have that 8 minutes coming up now, but we'll determine how long this Roche respawn actually is, which is 2.5 minutes more before we see another Aegis and Cheese going one team's way.
MVP will have time to farm, so you can see Foret at long last beginning to build into a Manta. This has not been the best Void game overall. 9 deaths to his name, a lot of whiffed Chronos, but Void can still be the hero. If all your racks are up at this stage in the game and you have a strong late game lineup with a Void, you're just thinking, I hit that one big bubble and I can pop Fnatic's momentum entirely. And now they use the Moonlight Shadow, they're moving in. Who's going to get the jump? It is Forev. He's found Ohio.
He's almost certain to go down here. He's tanky, but not tanky enough. And he has no buyback either. Down for 70. And this leads them to Roche. But again, no Roche respawn just yet.
Bit unfortunate for MVP. It wasn't the fast Roshan respawn. Still, though, it's a minute. And ideally, you want to at least force the buyback. The creeps are already at the base top. MVP, with a Sven, they can siege very quickly. I think they can at least chip here.
Last time they went up to the top lane, it was 5 versus 5, and that fight from MVP wasn't what they needed. And they lost MP, or they used the Chronosphere. I don't know if they lost MP. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they will go again this time with God Strength at the ready. They have the BKB. They're going to start sieging. So she's going to come in with that Mjolnir ready to go as well, but he still has the cheese on him, so he's not putting that item into his slots yet. The Hex onto QO, smoke screen, and then they'll use the False Promise now, and it looks like they have to back away after that.
Yeah, they really wanted the Slaughter to buy back, or if not, to do some tower damage. If they knew he didn't have buyback, I think you would see MVP commit on the tower, but if he has it and they commit and then he buys back, they can potentially get team wipe with no Chrono, so good discipline here from MVP. Playing it safe, getting objective time in where they can. And as for Fnatic, just dodging a bullet that Roshan hadn't respawned sooner, that almost certainly goes MVP's way. Mushi does complete the Mjolnir now, can still get Boots of Travel, but basically not much more room for item progression on Medusa at this point. You can buy a Moon Shards, eat it, but beyond that, I think you start having to take a long, hard look at your items going into late game. Like, how much is a Manta Linken's really offer you now? Something like Satanic comes to mind, potentially Rapier territory, but 3-4-3, see ya later.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Quick deletion maneuver.
He's just too squishy. I mean, I think there was Ethereal Blade and the Dagon coming out as well, so it's just too much damage. You only really need the Dagon to get that kill on a Starstorm. It should be enough. And now this time, Roshan is up and ready to go for MVP if they want to head in the pit. And they don't have a buyback, but they could contest this if you're Fnatic. Again, though, no big Chronosphere-like ability. They have the Slithering Crush, but MVP not heading into the pit just yet.
Ohio played like a god on the Sand King last game, and he's played well early in this game on the Slardar, but it's a small AoE on Crush. It's not an easy spell to hit on multiple heroes. Certainly if you lack vision going in, which is a problem for the Dire side. Only the one Observer Ward bottom. Despite the Riki pick, they have not maintained map control heading here later into the game, and now good usage of the illusions that Forev picked up, securing Roshan. I don't know if Fnatic even dare contest this.
Yeah, I think they might be too far away. The God Strength whittling Roshan down lower and lower. Now the Starstorm coming through, and they pick it up. They get the Aegis for the Mirana. They grab the cheese.
They're still going to look to fight, though.
So the Recrush is onto 2 now. The Omni Slash, but again, they have so much armor. Still, though, QO loses his Aegis almost instantly, and Mid-1 is going to try to keep going here, LD.
Good stone gazes. Mushi zones back the Sven. He has Satanic. He has BKB. Can he hit anyone during this time? He's getting slowed down, kited, controlled, and he never gets to swing that big sword. Dies in the end. 3 dead. Aegis pop. Fnatic say, screw your Aegis. We're going to take the team fight, and you just have to ask, where was the Chronosphere in that one? Poor Ev, unable to contribute that time.
He tried to get the Satanic onto the illusions, and it wasn't going to work in that situation.
The Scotty slow really does hurt Sven in that situation. Good job kiting him, and they kind of gave him the Dusa treatment there. All the previous fights, MVP have ignored Dusa, killed everyone else, and then gone back for the Dusa. This fight, they just ignore the Sven by kiting him while they kill the backliners, then go back for him.
They will find the cheese onto Ohio, keeping him alive after the Ethereal Blade coming out with a Dagon. There's the Chrono onto 2. They will go for 3-4-3.
What a perfect little nook for QO, but it's not good enough.
Oh, that one last Blade Fury proc. Mid-1 goes back and he makes sure he gets that kill.
Now they have no Chrono for high ground defense, Mott.
They have buybacks. They're going to have to use them, but yeah, you're right. No Chrono, and that's one of the biggest abilities. On cooldown now for 79 seconds. And they will get the crush up onto Frem. He gets forced away, but he will fall. Starstorm not doing nearly enough, and Mushi is just tanking up the front line, going to work with a split shot. He wants his tower, he wants the game, he wants the series.
He's on his own, though. Backup needs to come. It's in the form of DJ. He arrives, and QO, despite the false promise, is dead like 10 times over at this point.
My lord. I think he brought back as well. QO will burst down, dead for 2 minutes with no buyback.
I think they killed him at Ti7 with that one as well.
Oh my, he is deader than dead. They're going to head bottom at this point. MP will try to clear out the creep waves mid. He's got that God Strength back up. Again, no Daedalus to be able to have that 1 or 2 big swings. And even with that, Mushi still has the Mana Shield to go to work with, not to mention the Scotty, all of that. Ohio jumps in first, however. False promise use on Peppy. Mid-1 will go with the Omni Slash. Is it enough? They're already going to work. There's the Stone Gaze. MP getting kited, and MVP getting routed as well. MP cannot afford a death here, and he's about to go down.
Oh, with that Abyssal Blade and the Stone Gaze, the Scotty slow, Sven, all these items, no ability to hit. 1 swing of the sword brought 3 heroes down to half, but there was no follow-up. They've not managed to combo the Chrono with the God Strength this game. Just haven't found the big team fight execution they needed. Fnatic, now the Chrono, it's a good one.
And he's on the edge. He's not in the Chronosphere. He doesn't have God Strength, though. It's not enough. The great Storm Hammer onto 2. Mid-1 slow, and he will get brought down. Not done yet. 3-4-3 getting chased. And it looks like Mushi has to do this all on his own, but Mid-1 buys back and TP's in.
Looks to rejoin the fight. MP standing his ground with the shackles from DJ. Stretch Armstrong from the Philippines has a message for MP, and there it is. GG. Fnatic continue their rampage through the lower bracket. Guaranteed top 4, and with a win in their next series, it would be the first time a Southeast Asian team has made it to the top 3 since Orange back at TI3. What a run this has been, and what a showing from Fnatic. I really felt like MVP could have had that game.
They were close a couple of those times, and it was that one fight top, I feel like that really, it didn't do them in, but it certainly didn't help. It was the God Strength coming out from this Sven. They had to back away. They lost a couple of heroes in the process. They didn't need to take the fight.
Great showing for both these teams, Mott. They really left it all on the stage, and Southeast Asia as a region has to be so proud of their teams. 3 in the top 8, 1 in the top 4, with a chance still at first place. Fnatic, with all the momentum they've gained, is becoming a very scary team, and honestly, facing DC, I think those 2 teams will be very evenly matched. Should be a great series.
That's a toss-up to me. I don't know who comes out on top. I feel like Fnatic, again, they have yet to drop a game on the main stage, LD. That is insane. Fnatic is a team that a lot of people had coming in lower on in their brackets, you know, just going out maybe top, you know, let's say 10, I think. And they've shown time and time and again, the Manila Major, top 6. They're here now, top 4, going up against Digital Chaos here. Not the next series, but the series afterwards.
Who would have thought that would be the match for 3rd place in a shot at the lower bracket finals? I don't think many fans would have predicted it, but a great showing here by Fnatic. Resilient effort from MVP wasn't enough, and with that, Paul, Fnatic, guaranteed top 4. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely guaranteed top 4. It's an incredible story, isn't it? Not one we thought we would have, I guess, in the group stage, LD.
Oh, they didn't show this level of Dota in the group stage, and it's funny because we talk so much about MVP, the team that steps up on the stage, and historically Fnatic has done solidly there, but I don't feel like they played their best Dota on the big stage. It's been a while since